Tejashri,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, just mute your
Hello.
mic
Yeah.
just mute your mic for a while.
Mm.
Huh. Okay. So once I direct you to start, then you can unmute and then start. Okay. Go to this thing, slide share.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep your presentation on slide share. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Burgeon. Now, those who are wondering what is Burgeon, I will tell you the meaning first and then we will go ahead. Okay, so word Burgeon is basically originated from French language, which means birds or something which grows very fast or rapidly. Okay, and we at Aranya believe that our younger generation are like these birds which will bloom and flourish very nicely if they are given proper nourishment, right? So with this thought, we thought of naming this series as Burgeon, as our younger generation are just like birds who are ready to flower, right? So from today we are beginning with series of e-talks on education and we provide a platform for our younger generation to speak about the work that they have done in the field of natural history, wildlife and environment. And no matter how small the work is, but you never know, this work might end up into a big science tomorrow, right? And it might leap into a conservation strategy. You never know, right? So these small steps needs to be encouraged, right? So we thought of starting this particular series, and from today onwards we are starting Burgeon. And first we have Tejashri Mahale, who has done excessive birding during this lockdown period, and she will be speaking about birds in her backyard. All right, and for every series that we have, we will also have subject experts with us who will give their comments and feedback on the presentation, which I hope will boost and encourage participants who are speaking, right? And for today's session, we have Dr. Suhel, who is senior scientist at Nature Conservation Foundation, and Mandar Bhagat from board member of Goa Bird Conservation Network, who are subject experts today. So I request Tejasri to start with the presentation, and once she is over, we will hear from our subject experts. Tejasri, over to you. Tejasri, put your slide on screen share, please.
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, yeah. Just put your screen on
Ah,
slide share.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just don't get nervous and start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So hello and good evening to all. Myself Tejashri Mahale. I'm a student of Ganpat Parsekar College of Education, Harmal. I'm currently pursuing my graduation in the subject of zoology and education. So the reason why I chose zoology as my subject is because I was more interested in animals. Till then, all I knew was that I love these living creatures for their beautiful colors, then soft fur, wild sight, and many more. But I never thought of, looking them minutely. I never really questioned myself that why these beautiful creatures have got different colors, why they behave in certain way, why they have got different forms, different shapes, yeah, why they have such flight patterns until I learned and read about them. So, since I'm going to talk about birds, I would like to shed light on how I developed my interest in birding. Okay. So my interest specifically in birds came into picture when I first visited Karambolim Lake as a part of a field trip which was conducted by our college. So I still remember Miss Harshada being a resource person explaining about the interesting features about the birds. Like for example, a darter with a snake-like egg, snake-like neck. Then Indian cormorant with its wings wide open, adjutant stork who was walking as if it is doing a marching. Then male baya weavers building so many beautiful nests for the female. A bronze wing jacana with the long toes, swampans, rosy starlings, and many more. So my interest in birds kept building as I attended GBCN bird walks. Then I attended several talks, and on my own, I started with backyard birding with my friends. So, this is what I'm going to talk today in my session. So, before I start sharing my experience with you all, I would like to thank Aero for giving me this platform to put forth my birding experience. Okay. So, why I started with quarantine birding or lockdown birding is that I used during lockdown period I used to visit a place which had this huge tree, and this tree is a home to many common myna, rose ring parakeet, and house crow. So I used to sit and record the birds that used to visit this tree and note down their flight patterns, the way they behaved when bigger birds used to visit the tree, like for example raptors and hornbills. I recorded around 15 species of birds visiting this tree, and this triggered me to do birding in and around that area. So these two are the birding places which I regularly visit. So this place has more of fruiting trees, and this place is located near a river bank. And this place is rich in bird diversity as compared to the other one. While we see the place which is on the right hand side, this place is located near the caju tree plantations which are present on the mountain. And yeah, so by studying or by doing a regular birding in both these places, I also got to know about the population difference in some of the common birds. So if in this place there are more of common myna, more of house crows, then rock pigeons, rufous tree pie, and sunbirds. Whereas in the place which is present on the right hand side, here there are more of oriental magpie robins, more of red whiskered bulbuls, and grey fronted green pigeon, drongos, and emerald doves are very common at this place. Okay, so this is my friend Sanika Mahale, and she regularly accompanies me while birding. She's in 11th arts right now. One day I just told her to come along with me for birding, and right from that day onwards, she also got fascinated towards birds. Now she just don't look at the birds, but she observe them, and like she can identify around 25 to 30 species of birds. So these are few of the key methods which I follow while doing birding. So first one is the flight pattern. So I try to draw the flight pattern the way I could understand. So the first one I did for black rum, flameback, and orange headed thrush. So what I observed is that the black rum flameback flaps its wings twice. The first flap is little higher, second one is little lower, then it closes its wing, moves little upward, then first flap, second flap, and hence continue. Orange-headed thrush flaps its wings 3 times. Then next is behavior. So these are some of the behaviors of the birds which I found interesting. So first one is the behavior of a greater ecketal drongo who is mimicking Asian coil. I'm aware that the drongos mimic many of the birds, but this is my first time when I came across a drongo who was mimicking some bird. When I discussed this with a few of my friends and teachers, I also got to know that Drongos can even mimic traffic signals. Next is the orange-headed thrush, who spends more time on the ground. So what I observed is that orange-headed thrush is not very active bird. It pecks on the ground and stays still for a longer period of time. And because of this behavior, the orange-headed thrush was earlier known as ground thrush. Then next is the territorial defense, which was shown by rose-ring parakeets, common myna, and house crow, who try to shoo away the bigger birds such as raptors and hornbills from the tree, which I mentioned earlier. So the raptors which visit the tree are Brahmini kite and black kite, and hornbills are Malabar grey hornbill and Malabar pied hornbill. So next is I also noticed a mating call of two Indian pittas. So quite interestingly, these two pittas were separated by a river. So the first pitta was giving a call, and this call was followed by the another pitta which was present on the other bank, and they continued. Like it was really nice to listen to them. Next is the warning call. I also observed a change in the call of orange-headed thrush and white-rump shama when they saw me appearing towards themselves. Then a red-wattled lapwing was calling loudly, was giving loud calls, maybe to alert other birds when it saw a Brahmini kite hovering around. And I also observed that the Brahmini kite was trying to chase the red-wattled lapwing. Fourth one is record the calls. So what I do is that I record the calls of the birds which I come across. So next time when I hear the bird calling, I could identify the bird. I started doing this because I was not able to identify even the common birds through calls. I even tried identifying woodpeckers by downloading the call and getting used to it. Next is rough sketching. I do a rough sketching of few of the birds who stay at one place for longer period of time so that I can sketch. So I did here for coppersmith barbet, puff-throated babbler, crested tree swift, and white rum sham. I also note down the colors. The next is okay. I also try to draw the differences in the birds. For example, a male and a female, or a bird which is in a breeding and in a non-breeding plumage, so that I could remember the differences better. So these are some of the lifers which I came across. First one is the pied cuckoo. Then second is a crested tree swift. I would like to share something about crested tree swift. I got to know that crested tree swift is not a true swift because it is the only swift who can perch on the trees. Because of the presence of hind claws, whereas other swifts cannot perch on the trees. And I also read on Google that crested tree swift uh, perch on the tree which are either leafless or have less number of leaves, and same thing I observed. So this crested tree swift which I was observing was sitting on a tree or was perching on a tree which had a very less number of leaves. And now recently in the pre-June, when the tree started getting fresh flush, this crested tree swift stopped perching on that tree, and I didn't even see the crested tree swift flying in that area. Maybe it went to some other place. So the next is straight-tailed heron, then a rufous treepai, stock-billed kingfisher, then rufous woodpecker. Next is emerald dove. So I noticed that the emerald dove is a low flyer as compared to other birds which I came across. And last one is the great hornbill. So I listed around 82 species of birds. Out of 82, two are near threatened, that is Malabar pied hornbill and black-headed ibis. Great hornbill is vulnerable. Malabar grey hornbill and Vigus sunbird is endemic to Western Ghats, and rest 79 falls under least concern. So these two are the sampling methods that I follow. So first one is the random sampling and point count. Then I also refer to the PDF of Common Birds of Goa and Birds of Indian Subcontinent. Uh, I also tell about my observations and ask my queries and doubts to Miss Harshada, and she clear them out. The birding places which I visit don't have threats till now, except the upcoming construction of the houses. But if I consider my village, then the widening of the national highway is going on, and due to which many fields have been affected. And what I noticed is that maybe because of this reason, there is less number of migratory birds visiting those fields. So my wish is to document the birds present in the entire Gwem village, and then maybe propose it to Panchayat to serve it as a management plan. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tejasvi. It was really nice, and I would really appreciate to see the work that you have done because uh, during this time, actually, in fact, we don't see this classical wording that happens right now because most of the time, our younger generation just wants to click the picture and they want to upload it. But your observations are fantastic. I think there are few questions which have popped up. So before I hand over charge to Sir and Mandar, I would like to take
Mm.
few questions if there are any. Pranay, if you can tell us if there are any questions. Okay, so Tejashri, there is question from you that is from Velocia. She asked any information on resources used in identifying the birds. I think you have already answered this, but still, if you can repeat it.
Yes, I use binoculars and notepads, and sometimes I carry camera. But most of the time, I just use binoculars and notepad to draw or to note down what I have seen.
Yeah. Any specific books that you would like to recommend others?
Birds of Indian Subcontinent. I think
Okay.
it's a good book.
Okay. Next question. Okay. There is question by Rupsana. She asks, "What are lifers?"
So, lifers are the birds which you always want to see and you come across for the first time. This is what I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Lifers is a term of birders that we use very widely, right? Okay. Okay. Omkar asks you, "What is random sampling?"
Okay, random sampling is when you go to some place and just look out for the birds that are present around yourself, and not just follow the method of point count or line transact.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Kimaya asks you, any specific time you go for birding?
Yes, in morning I go at around 6 a.m. to I do boarding around 6 a.m. to 8:30, and in the evening from 5 to 6:30.
Okay. That's a good time to go for birding actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay. There is question by Ajay. He asked, which season is best for birding?
I would suggest rainy season is best for birding, and if you want to study or if you want to look out for migratory birds, then winter season is the best one.
Okay. Let's see if there are any more questions. Okay. Okay. If there are any questions, we will take it further. Okay.
Okay.
Now I request Suhel sir to give his comments and feedback on the presentation.
Thanks, Harshada. Hopefully, you can hear me. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Tejashri, that was really wonderful. I think you approached this work as a true naturalist, and a
Yeah, thank
naturalist,
you.
looks at all different aspects. So you are looking at birds, and you documented, of course, the different species that you saw. But I think the other things that you did were, as interesting, if not more interesting. Looking at the flight patterns, the mimicry, the microhabitat, what's called, the orange-headed thrush foraging on the
Yeah.
ground, and so on. Interactions between species as well. And so I think that for any field naturalist, the sort of thing that you've done is the perfect starting point, because you want to go out there and you want to keep your mind open and your eyes and ears open, and take everything in that you see and hear, and then possibly, based on the observations that you've made, possibly you might decide to pick up one or two specific things that you observed, and you might delve into them a little more deeply. For example, if you look at the flight patterns,
Yeah.
you told us about two species. Maybe you've looked at more species, but you could look at more. There might also be some variation within a species depending on the
Yeah.
distance that birds fly. They may have a slightly different. So you could look into that in more detail. For the mimicry, for example, mimicry is such a fascinating subject. For example, what immediately comes to mind when you say you've heard the racket-tailed drongo mimic a quail,
Yeah.
one immediate question is, well, did it mimic the quail after hearing a quail nearby, or was it completely, you know, with no other sound in the beforehand or afterwards and so on. So what's very interesting to ask is, these birds that mimic, do they mimic other species that are there right now in that immediate environment, or it's quite possible they learn the sounds, and in a completely different context, even when there's no coil around, they might mimic. So here again, one can go into little more detail. So each of the what I found really fascinating is, because you made so many different individual observations of different kinds of behavior, there are so many different paths that depending on your interest, that you can explore. So thank you, Tejasvi. That was really nice, and I just really enjoyed it. Took me back to when I was younger, and I just would roam around in forests and so on, and do a lot. I never was able to sketch as well as you, by the way. My sketching is really bad. So I would write notes, but my sketches, I would be embarrassed to show. But your sketches were really wonderful. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
It was a
sir.
wonderful
Yeah,
experience for me.
thank you so much, sir.
Suhel sir, if you can shed a light on how eBird can be used as a tool to upload these observations.
Yeah, I could do that. I think for a lot of what Tejashri has done with the behavioral observations, especially to pursue that further, then that's a dedicated kind of pursuit. eBird is very good for documenting the species that you see in a particular place, whether you see or hear them. And every time one goes, the typical way to use it would be, every time you go to a place, even if it's the same place repeatedly, for whether it's half an hour or 1 hour or whatever it is, you would then on your app or notebook, whatever, you would note down the list of species that you see or hear and upload that to eBird. And then what happens is, over time, you get a complete listing of the different species that you've seen, and you can look at it across seasons and in various different ways. Is something that I've done just outside my house when I walk my two daughters to their school bus stop. So for the last 6 years, every school day, whenever they have school, I walk with them to their bus stop. It's about 200 meters, and it's a very boring place compared to your beautiful habitat. It's just in a residential, locality in Bangalore. But because I did it regularly for 6.5 years, now, by looking at that data, I can actually see some species have completely, that were common before, have completely disappeared from my
Mm-hmm.
locality, and other species have become more common, and still other species have remained pretty much the same. So even with this regular sort of birding, and it's only for 10-15 minutes over 200 meters, that's all. And anywhere you are in the country, in any context, you can do something like this. And over time, that information becomes so valuable. So that's one of the things that one can use a platform like eBird for.
Yeah, sure, sir. I'll look into it.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mandar to give his feedback.
Hello,
Hello, sir.
can you hear me now? Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, I'll first thank Aranya for getting these new students and all on and giving them this platform to uh, express themselves in birding as well. And I was actually very much surprised, like with seeing your those sketches. Actually, I'll admit I have never done it because I started birding with a camera only. So I have never done it, and I was very surprised that people are doing it still. I've heard it, and that old people like Miss Salim Ali time, all they were using the sketches to observe, means keep the record of the what they have seen, and identify them later on by referring books and all. So it was very amazing. Secondly, I'll tell you to pursue this recording thing again.
Yeah.
You have to means uh, continue it doing and uploading it on some platform. Even eBird
Yeah.
allows you to upload your recordings, and that will remain as a like data in your database as a record. That's the thing. And what there's the concept in eBird about patch birding. Am I right? Suhel sir will tell you, and that already you are doing actually, but I'll request you to continue it so that in near future you will come to know the trends of birds, which season what is coming, what is going. So for example, I had done it in Palivelsa once, so I have done seen like black drongos going and she drongos coming and taking place. Then in monsoon the cuckoos come, which cuckoo come first, which cuckoo then stays for long, pittas and all. So you should continue this in your patch specifically, and do upload your observations on eBird, so that will remain for your use also and for the as a citizen science contribution also.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, I'll do it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mandar. Okay, there is a question by Rupasna. She says that was really good, short and crisp. Even I have recorded so much for about 2 months, but wasn't able to document it. I would like to ask experts, how can we document our data properly? Please help. Anyone, Suel sir or Mandar, could if they could answer this. How we can document our data properly?
Harsh, should I? Maybe I can start and Mandar can add on.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
Um,
sure.
so it really depends on what kind of data you mean. So if it is about the species that you have seen or heard, then the basic way to do it is to maintain what's called a list. So every time you go into the field, you would keep in a particular location, you would maintain a list of all the birds that you've seen, ideally also with the number of each of the different species that you have seen, and maybe take any notes about whether you've seen any breeding evidence or any other behavior. You might have some photos of some of the species, some audio recordings, like Tejashri said. The what I recommend is that you would upload those lists then to eBird, because it becomes like your online notebook, and you can carry it with you in your app or your laptop or whatever, and it joins everybody else's online notebooks, their bird notebooks as well, to create a lot of new understanding of Indian birds. And then if you have some of the ability to do some basic data analysis, you can also download your composite data from your account, and then you can, in Excel or some other tool, you can begin to play around a little bit and to do some analyses of the different kinds of analyses of the birds you've seen, like the numbers of species and the seasonality of those species, or whether it differs in different locations and so on. So this is if you're documenting species. If you're doing what's called birding, Birding usually is where you go out and you document the species that you see. But there are many things that Tejashri spoke about that went very well beyond that, which is look into the details of behavior. And if you want to study mimicry, or if you want to study the foraging habitat of different species, then that's a very different kind of endeavor. You would do that. You would have to think of a kind of a plan. How will I study the mimicry, vocal behavior, for example? Very often, people who study animal behavior, they use a kind of technique called focal sampling, focal animal sampling, where if you see a racket-tailed drongo, you might say, okay, I'm going to watch this drongo for a fixed amount of time, let's say 5 minutes. And in that 5 minutes, I'll record whenever it makes a vocalization, and I will mark whether that vocalization is a mimicry or not, and what kind of bird it's mimicking. And there could be other kinds of things that you note down during that time. So when you're doing a study on behavior, then you have a very different kind of outlook, a very different purpose, and you'll have a different strategy also for that. So it really depends on what you want to do, and then one can go into more details of how to do it. Yeah.
Yes. Mandar, would you like to add anything?
I think Suhel sir already answered it very well.
Okay, then I
If
think,
nothing
yeah, then I think you
to
should take this opportunity to talk about bird walks that we conduct through GBCN, because there are a lot of youngsters who are seeing it live, and it will be nice if you could share in short about the bird walks that you conduct.
okay, the bird walk, actually, we have almost completed 5.5 years now. We have started it in 2015. So because of this lockdown, we are not doing it these days. So bird walk is basically like we call means we call people like through social media, Facebook and group, and join as a group birding. Like we do it, and we take our equipment, means owned by GBCN, like scopes and binoculars, and show the people the birds, and explain them their habitats and all everything. Usually we do it on different location every time, and seasonally we take care that which location is better for that particular season. Like for example, in monsoon we go for plateaus and all. In wintering time we go for forest, that way.
Right. Thank you, Mandar. Suel sir, if you can speak about any example wherein citizen science have contributed to actual science, wherein the data have been used, because there are a lot of students who might not continue this observations for their career, but they should also know how their contribution can lead to a science, right? That is what citizen science is all about. If you can maybe give an example wherein citizen science have been useful, not respect to birds only, it can be anything. Yeah, if that will be nice.
Yeah, thanks, Harsha. That's a good question. There are actually so many different examples. I'll give a couple of bird examples and then see if something else comes to my mind. But one very clear way is in monitoring the populations of birds. And if we want to monitor birds over a, let's say, country level or even state level, it's not possible to do it without the involvement of bird watchers and citizens, because these are such large areas that it's not possible for scientists or researchers to do it. So all across the world, wherever they have countrywide, nationwide bird monitoring schemes, they always very crucially are citizen scientists. For example, in North America, there's something called the breeding bird survey, where it is done by bird watchers, and that's how in North America they know over 40 years what has been the change in the bird populations. Similarly, in the UK as well, there's another breeding bird survey, UK breeding bird survey, again similar in Australia as well. So all of these are possible only through citizen science. And now in India, we have also an attempt to do something similar with the a report that came out in February called the State of India's Birds, And the State of India's birds is based entirely, almost entirely, on the eBird data that's been uploaded by about 15,000 bird watchers, uploaded more than 10 million observations of birds over the last 6 years. And that has been used to estimate, to look at the monitor and look at the changes in the birds. And so now we know that there are many species that we never suspected, many species that are declining very rapidly, and it needs very severe, very close conservation attention, which we would not have known without those 15,000 bird watchers having shared their observations. So very clearly, in terms of population and distribution of birds, migration of birds, a lot of, when we're looking at large scales, geographical scales, it's only possible through citizen science. But there are also other things that are very fascinating. I'll just give another example from eBird. This is from North America. And in North America, some researchers were curious to find out what are the diurnal patterns. So what is the activity pattern of different species? Because different species have different activity patterns, where some are active in the early morning, some are active in the middle of the day, some are more active in the night. And so they were able to look, when bird watchers go bird watching at all different times, morning, middle of the day, evening. So by looking at the information coming from different times of the day, these researchers were able to use eBird data to assess the peak activity time of different species. And they had expected that the raptors that hunt birds, so birds of prey which hunt other birds, that they would try and match the activity of their prey species, but the prey species would try and move their activity away from the maximum active time of the raptors. And this is happening on a fine scale of maybe 1 or 2 hours of difference in peak activity time. But this was able to be discovered by these researchers only, again, because of all the information, huge amount of information that was uploaded by birdwatchers about the time in which they went birding and the different birds they have seen. So whether it's birds and whether it's butterflies, whether it's beetles, there are many citizen science programs to do with all aspects of the natural world, including non-living parts of the natural world, galaxies, stars. There are amateur astronomers who, through citizen science, have discovered new stars. And it was, in fact, an amateur astronomer who looked at imagery of the moon, and I forget the name of our moon lander. No, there was a Indian moon lander that went and crashed on the far side of the moon. And the ISRO was, before ISRO could find the location of the crash, was an amateur astronomer from Chennai was looking through the imagery and was able to pinpoint, and then he informed ISRO that this is the place where the crash happened. So there are so many ways in which we, as amateurs, as people who love the subject, even though we may not be researchers or scientists or professionals, we can contribute in almost any different way you can imagine.
Well, I think that's really very interesting, because there are so many people who want to contribute, but they think that, okay, my observation might not be very useful for them. But that's not true. That is what we have been trying to convince our youngsters, right? And I think we have put forward it very nicely. Okay, I next want to ask Mandar, since many people are there online, and GBCN being a local organization, how do people get connected to you? Like what is the क्या बोलते हैं उसको formality that is to be done to be part of GBCN?
GBCN, anyone can join actually, and for joining you have to fill a form. It's an e-form basically, not a paper form, and just transfer the fees amount. If you want details, you can contact me directly or any of us, Arshada, or you can visit our website also, gbcn.in. There you'll find a section where you can just become a member by clicking that and filling the form. That's all. And it's 400 rupees per year for non-student, and student it is 150 rupees. Thereafter, you can renew by paying 350 or 100 rupees respectively, student and non-student and student. Yes, sir. Plus, there is there's a one option, you can become a life member also by paying 6,000 one time. So you don't have to renew again and again. That's all. And as a means advantage is like you will be not charged for the bird walks if you are a member, and you will be given first preference if you are in surveys and all, or some activities GBCN is planning to participate. As a participant, you will be given first preference, then the non-members. That's all.
Uh,
Harshada, do you mind? Can I add something to what Mandar has said?
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So, as somebody who's not from Goa and not, I know of GBCN, but I'm not in GB. I don't run GBCN. I think I can give a unbiased opinion saying that GBCN is one of the most vibrant and active and important bird conservation groups in the country. I know many such groups in many different parts of the country, and it would be, I think it's fair to say, it'd be very difficult to find a group that is as active in a meaningful way on the ground. Not only the bird walks, which get more people involved in birding and in nature and in conservation, but there are many of projects that GBCN under takes over, and I'm sure I can't list them all, but these include working with the forest department to document birds for their better management and conservation, new surveys and awareness programs and so on. And most organizations have one or two programs and projects in a year, but GBCN somehow, because of its enthusiastic members and people who run it, is able to do a huge amount. So if anybody is listening over there and has any doubt about whether you should join this organization or not, I should say, please, you should immediately join it. It's the most wonderful place, and you will have the satisfaction of being part of one of the most active and vibrant groups in the country.
I'll add one thing
Absolutely,
to it.
absolutely.
Let me
Yeah.
add,
Go ahead, Mandar.
as you said, for GBCN, you don't have to be a Goan or residing in Goa. Rather, we have some members who are from abroad also, and they are renewing their membership every year. They are some of them are regular visitor of they visit in winters to Goa every means winter for birding specifically. There are few peoples like that, and some non-Goans like from Maharashtra, Karnataka also people are becoming members also. So it
Yeah.
doesn't say that only you should be from Goa to join GBCN.
Absolutely. Thank you both. There is a general question by Velocia. She asked if there are any suggestions on good choice of binoculars. Mandar or Suhel sir, anyone can answer this.
Mandari, would you like to take it?
Yeah, binoculars depends on your, again it's like camera is depends on your budget, but still I'll prefer 10 by 42 or 10 by 40 binocular. 10 is the what you call it, zoom capacity, means how close the subject will come, and 40 is the how more entry of light, and the light will enter more, means bigger the number 40 is like more the light will enter, and the whatever will see the image will be brighter. So I'll prefer 10 by 42 or 8 by 35 also, which
Yeah.
will give you a wider angle. These are, and that's all.
Yeah. There was one this thing by is 8 by 40 enough,
Yeah, 8 by 40 is enough, or 8 30 35 also is enough.
but
Yeah,
best
I
would
can.
be 10 by 40.
Yeah, preferably
Maybe,
1042 is a good combination.
so Mandar is obviously a very strong man. 8 by 40, 10 by 40 binoculars usually be very heavy. Uh, so I differ a little bit from your view, Mandar. I think that because even if you have 10 X binoculars, also the shake increases. So every extra magnification, you have to keep the binoculars that much more steady. So in my experience, 8, and even as a professional ornithologist, I only use 8 by 40. 8 magnification, I think for most purposes should be fine. So 8 by 30 to 8 by 40 would be my recommendation. In case somebody is looking for a specific brand, I recommend, like for children or beginners. See, you don't want to buy an expensive pair of binoculars right in the beginning, because you don't know whether you will continue with this hobby, or whether it's worth the investment. So what I typically recommend is, there is a binocular called Olympus 8 by 21. It's a very small, compact pair of binoculars. It's less than 5,000 rupees. So I tend to, I like it. I bought it for my children also. So that's quite nice. And if you get serious, if you're already into it and serious, then there's a very nice 8 by 42 Nikon Pro Staff. It's called 8 by 42 binoculars. So just because sometimes it's useful, there's so many variety out there, you can get lost. Just a couple of specific recommendations in case anybody needs.
Okay. There is another question by Rupasna. She asks, is it okay to post in different sites like eBird, Indian Biodiversity Portal, etc., or is it better to post in one only?
Who do you want to answer that, Harshada?
Anyone? Uh,
I'll tell you what I do. I post all my bird observations in eBird, because I'm primarily a bird watcher, and eBird is built for bird watching, for birding. And all my non-birding bird observations and photographs I post in either India Biodiversity Portal or iNaturalist. So one thing to note is that both iNaturalist and India Biodiversity Portal are largely for photographs. Whereas bird watching, when we largely don't take photographs. If I see a list of 35 species, I might have photographs of 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 species, but not all 35. So eBird is built for that. It's built for observation, not only photography. So just consider that also when you are thinking about which platform. Typically, you'll only upload photos to the other platforms.
yeah, thank you. Uh, right. So there is another question by Kimaya. Would you recommend any app for recording bird call? I think I would request Mandar to answer this. Would you recommend any app for recording bird call?
There are actually plenty of apps, just sound recorders. There is no
Mandar,
specific. I have not.
Mandar, just a second. Your volume is bit low. If you can hold your mic.
Hello, you can hear me now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now it's
Okay,
fine.
what
Now
I
it's
was saying, I have never used any app as such. I have means there was my earlier phone has already built in a sound recorder, so I used to use that. When I started recording, I used phone only, but there was no, there is, I don't know, there is a specific app. I'm not aware of it. But most of the phones have a sound recorder, I think. The general voice recorder that you can use.
If I can just
yeah.
add to that, so a professional, people who are very seriously into sound recording anyway won't use their phones, but will use a dedicated sound recording, hardware. But if
Correct.
you are using your phone, actually, it is useful to download a specific app that has a couple of features, and one very important feature is the ability to record sound in wave format, WAV format. So WAV format is an uncompressed format where all the details of the sound is preserved. Whereas I think most voice recording apps, the normal apps you have on your phone, record in MP3 or some other format, which degrades the recording a little bit in order to save space. So on Android, the recording app that I use is called RecForge 2, REC Forge FORGE number 2, Roman 2, and that allows you to set in the settings the ability to record in wave format, and also the recording frequency, which should be at 44 or higher kilohertz. There are a few settings. Actually, there's some very good guides, online guides for how to record bird sounds on your phone. Maybe we can pass the link to those separately.
Sure, sir. If you can share the information with me, I could pass it on to the participants that are present today. Okay. There is next question by Malaika. I had one question for the experts. What is the purpose of the long tail in the racket-tailed drongo?
It's a good question. There are many birds that have long tails, and these streamer tails. What are called streamer tails. In some of them, only the males have and the females don't have. Like for example, the paradise flycatcher. And although paradise flycatcher specifically has not been studied, there are other similar birds in Africa that have been studied where it's been shown that females prefer to mate with males that have long tails, and males that have long tails are able to defend larger territories and so on. So in some birds, it's because of this mate choice and mate selection process that the males have evolved long tails, not the females. But in the drongos, you may know that both males and females have long tails, and there are a few species like that. And I unfortunately I'm not aware of why that might be. One possibility: there are many birds in which, for example, both males and females are brightly colored, which is kind of similar to long tails. It's an ornament. It's something that you display. And in some of these birds, it's known that there is mutual mate choice. The females are very choosy about the mate and prefer the brightly colored males, but the males are also very choosy about their mates and prefer brightly colored females, because bright color in those cases indicates health and ability to raise young and so on. It may be that is a similar function for long tail, but don't take this as just a guess, a hypothesis, not something that's proven or known. Maybe it's something that you can study. Why do they have long tails?
Yeah, I think the girl who asked the question should go and read about it, right? Yeah. Oh, wow, good to see Tej sir online as well. Okay, Tej sir asked, for people who are bird watching in open areas such an inland or coastal wetland, 10x binocular provide a greater magnification, which is particularly helpful where you are watching over longer distances. In the forest with lot of vegetation, 8x binocular is often easier to use, right? So that's a suggestion for the person who asked for binoculars, right? uh, yeah, Tej sir says very informative webinar, keep it up. Thank you so much, sir. Are there any questions? Okay, in the comment section, those who are available online can see the links to what is citizen science. We have also provided link to Goa Bird Conservation Network, how to become member, and also a link wherein Suhel sir referred about patch birding. All these links are given in the comment section, so you can refer and make best use of it. Okay, so there is one question: why flamingo feed their kids with their blood? They can't give them fish. I think this is because of the viral video that was going on Instagram. So if Mandar or Suhel sir, anyone would like to answer this question.
So I am not a flamingo expert, but my understanding is that that's not blood. It is food that is being regurgitated by the parent. So you know that flamingos don't eat fish; they feed on these plankton, these microorganisms in the salt water and sometimes fresh water. And in fact, their color comes from these microorganisms that they're feeding on. So if in zoos, for example, it's very difficult. Flamingos lose their color because they're not feeding on the right tiny creatures. So what happens is the parents feed on these creatures, they partially digest them, and then they regurgitate the nutritious food, partially digested food, into the beaks of the chicks. And this happens to be red in color. So it's not actually the blood, although it looks very dramatic. It looks like it's blood, but it's not the blood of the parent. We can rest assured the parents are fine, the chicks are fine. It's not blood. Some other, doves and pigeons also do that. Doves and pigeons eat grain and they digest them, and they make a kind of milk that they then regurgitate a white fluid like a milk into the beaks of their chicks. So it's quite a common thing in birds.
I think it's called crop milk, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there is next comment by Malaika. I had read long ago that the long tail is a form of mimicry, When the bird flies, it appears as if two blackbirds are chasing the drongos. Okay, that's interesting. Maybe we should go ahead and read more about it. Yeah. Any other comments? Okay. Out of all the webinars I have attended, I can definitely tell this is the most informative one, where all questions are answered so nicely. Looking for more like that is. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, thanks everyone for the lovely evening. I think we are done with the question and answer session. If Tejashri would like to end this session by saying how she felt about the comment that she received, what about the discussion that happened right now, and maybe then we could end it quickly. We will not take much time because it's already almost 1 hour that we have been discussing, right? Yeah, Tejashri.
Okay, so this was my first time. I'm giving, I'm taking the suggestions and I'm expressing my views on birding. I found it very interesting because yeah, the expert clear out everything. Then they gave nice suggestions and they appreciated my work. That's very nice, which will help me to continue
Can
this.
I ask Tejasvi, what are your plans now? What do you plan to do next? Yeah, with this kind of work.
I want to document the birds and yeah, I want to document the birds and I want to conserve the places which are rich in bird diversity.
Yeah, I
Okay.
remember Tejashri once told me that she wants to document entire village and then publish the data. Then I told her, no, why don't you start with one area first and then go ahead. So I think that's the one that she's shying off to tell a bit, that she wants to document entire village and then make a map sort of, and then propose it to her panchayat and biodiversity management committee, where she can contribute her observation, because the area where she lives is like very less documented from Goa. Even though Goa is very small, there are few places which are like untouched, and people don't even know about bird diversity which exists there, right? So her area is one of those, and I hope that she will continue further and document as much as possible. Right. So for a end note, if Suel sir or Mandar would want to say something to the larger audience that is listening to us.
I just want to thank Aranya Aero again for this, and I think this is a wonderful series that you started. And looking forward to seeing the other presentations and all the young people who are doing things. Tejashri, thank you for your presentation. Just to reiterate that I enjoyed it very, very much. All the best for the future for you. And to other people listening, I think
Thank
that
you, sir.
I mean we're here because we love birds, we love nature. Let us spend time outdoors. Let us spend time in nature. That's very important for a variety of reasons, including our satisfaction, mental health, and documentation. Documentation may not be the main reason. That's fine. We can just enjoy ourselves in nature and remind ourselves how lucky we are to be able to still have intact habitats, birds around us, and to be able to enjoy them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mandar, you would like to say something?
After watching this your presentation, I am like now I am thinking of coming to your area and host one bird walk there because quite a good number of species you have documented from there, and it was nice presentation. Good, and all the best for your future. Keep doing what you are doing right now.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Mandar. I'm sure this that we can conduct one of the bird walks there, and Tejas, you would be really lucky if team of GBCN can come and do a bird walk in your area. I hope you will treat us with some good number of birds there, right? Yeah. So I'd like to end this session by saying thank you to everyone, especially Suhel sir and Mandar, for accepting my request, because this is a new experiment that we are doing by encouraging youngsters. I didn't know how it would work out or how it will work out in future, but still you all said no, we will come forward and help you out. So thank you very much. And I would also like to take this opportunity to inform everyone that next Wednesday we will have Mr. Amir Jakati, who will be speaking about ants that he has documented in Molam Wildlife Sanctuary. So, looking forward to his presentation on next Wednesday. I would declare who will be the subject expert soon. So, keep in touch. Let's be in touch, and I look forward for everyone's participation once again on coming Wednesday. Thank you so much, everyone. We will end the live session now, but I request Swell sir, Mandar, and Tejashri to remain on the StreamYard so that we could just finish the recording session.